Center because of the job I had access to it. I made a decision not to go because I thought almost a paralysis the day that it happened, and I didn't get anything accomplished that day except sitting on the couch being sad, and I couldn't do that today. So I say all that to say, LeBron James, notably either absent or not pictured at the service. We all grieve in a different way, privately, however we can get through it. What do you know about LeBron James?
I spoke to several members of the Lakers who were there today, and they didn't see LeBron. Rich Paul, his agent, told our Stephen A. Smith that LeBron's in his own space. And space could be somewhere away from Staples Center, could be in a different part of Staples Center. What I can tell you definitively, though, is that the first road game the Lakers played in Sacramento after they got back to playing after the tragedy, I got a chance to kind of just catch up with LeBron and just touch base and see how he was doing. And he told me in that moment that it was the toughest week of his life. And so me knowing that, it wouldn't surprise me if he made a decision similar to yours to say, you know what, of course, I'm devastated. Of course, I respect Kobe Bryant. I respect his family. I respect the Lakers. For me to be the best I can be for everybody else, right, maybe not be involved with that today. Or it could be, hey, this moment is not about me. I'm there, but I don't want to be seen. I don't want a camera on me. Correct. And that's another theory that obviously he could have communicated that through AEG Staples Center and just, hey, don't have me up on the Jumbotron. This is today about the Bryant family, about Kobe, not about LeBron James. Yeah. So can't be sure about his presence, but we can certainly be sure about the sentiment involved. It was a sentiment shared by all of us. Had to put him on today. You're beating me, man. Come on. Thanks, Dave. You got it.
Here's Hannah Jump, three-point specialist. And there is Sabrina Ionescu with the rebound. She has just become the first player in Division I history with 2,000 points, 1,000 assists, and 1,000 rebounds. A historic mark set by Sabrina Ionescu.
Throwing Adam Amin on ESPN talking about Oregon's, again, Sabrina Ionescu, who earlier in the day was at the celebration for Kobe Bryant. I mean, it's just amazing. The celebration, the memorial for Kobe, his daughter, and the 7 others that lost their lives, gave an incredible speech about Kobe and Gigi, and then went to Stanford, where Oregon won that game. She needed 9 rebounds, got it in the third quarter to be the first female ever in any division. 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, 1,000 assists. She did it on 2-24-20. 2, Gigi's number, 24, Kobe's number, and 20 is Sabrina's number. In the NBA, Bradley Beal, he's been absolutely on fire. Unfortunately for the team, not so much. He scored a career-high 55 points in Washington's overtime loss to Milwaukee on Monday. Another connection with Kobe here, becoming the first player to score 50 points on consecutive nights since Kobe Bryant did it in 2007. And the first player in franchise history to have 50 points in consecutive games. Unfortunately, the first player in NBA history to score 50 points in a loss in consecutive days. That's unfortunately not good team-wise. On to boxing. There will be a Wilder versus Fury 3 rematch. Again, this was Wilder had 30 days to decide if he wanted a rematch. He said there is going to be a rematch. Get ready for the trilogy, as they say. Wilder also told our Dan Raphael that his costume had something to do with his performance. His costume that he walked into the ring with weighed 40 to 45 pounds. It said it drained his legs and the power he had in his legs. We'll get into more of that in just a little bit. That was an interesting one. That Sports Center brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Straight Talk Wireless has the full court cell phone coverage you need. Get the unlimited plan, 25 gigs, high-speed data, then 2G for just $45 a month, saving you up to half the cost of big carriers. Everything for less. Savings may vary. Check out terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
The city of Los Angeles held a celebration of life today at Staples Center in honor of Kobe Bryant and his daughter, Gianna.
If it looked emotional on television, it had to have been 100 times more in person.
Golic and Wingo with you on a Tuesday morning. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. Our phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line.
And Mike, we've been talking about some of the unbelievable performances we saw in basketball last night, not only in the NBA, but also in college basketball, where you mentioned it in SportsCenter there. Sabrina Ionescu became the first player ever, men or women, with 2,000 points, 1,000 assists, and 1,000 rebounds. And there were so many connections to Kobe Bryant, all because so many of the people that performed so well last night were at that celebration of life at Staples Center, which was scheduled to begin around 10 o'clock in the morning, actually got underway around 10:30. And it was a tour de force of an outpouring of love and affection and so many memories of Kobe and Gianna. But I just remain so amazed and I don't want to say proud, impressed by what Vanessa Bryant was able to do. Just to go up there and speak the way she spoke in such a horrific circumstance is truly unbelievable.
I can't imagine anything worse than, listen, what happened was tragic, and she lost her husband, her best friend. But I can't, and I'm sure you too, Trey, I can't imagine losing a child.
No.
I don't think there could be anything that would destroy me more than that.
Yeah.
So for her to get up there and not only talk about losing her husband and best friend, but losing a daughter, a child, that just absolutely tears at you. And you're right. Her ability to go up there and put some humor into it as well.
Yep.
As I mentioned, I think the month being between the tragic event and now, I think helped bring that to light as well. We're not only going to talk about, how much we love these people and what they meant to us, but there can be a little humor involved as well. And we definitely got some of that yesterday.
You needed some of that yesterday. I mean, Vanessa alluded to it when she said he was the ultimate girl dad.
Never left the toilet seat up.
Never left the toilet seat up. I mean, just tremendous things like that. And then I thought, in a way that can only best be described as someone trying to come to terms with unspeakable tragedy and unspeakable grief, tried to put into some sort of cohesive point how she was handling the idea of losing both of them at the same time in that helicopter crash.
God knew they couldn't be on this earth without each other. He had to bring them home to heaven together. Babe, you take care of our Gigi. And I got Nani, Bibi, and Coco. We're still the best team. We love and miss you, Boo Boo and Gigi. May you both rest in peace and have fun in heaven until we meet again one day. We love you both and miss you forever and always. Mommy.
I mean,
wow.
Yeah.
Just to be able to get those words out.
To be able to stand up there and not just shake the entire time was just incredible. And by the way, the parade of people that were there, and the performances that were there, it was just an overpowering showing of love.
It really was, yeah.
And Doc Rivers, the head coach of the Clippers, said Lakers the city of Los Angeles needed this, to try and find a way to take that next step forward, because we had Justin Tinsley on with us yesterday from the Undefeated, and he alluded to what a cultural icon, not just a basketball icon, Kobe was for the city of Los Angeles and that entire area. It felt like this was the entire Southern California area between San Diego and somewhere 40 miles north of Los Angeles, just giving themselves the hug they needed.
Big hug that was needed. Because
absolutely.
Everyone's going to have to start. People have already started moving. They had to start playing games again. I mean, and as I said, the closer you are to Kobe, the tougher it is. And I can't even fathom, Vanessa and the other girls. That's incredible. But I do think there was that I agree with you, kind of that collective hug.
Yeah.
Let's all cry together. Let's all laugh together. And then let's all start to
move on together.
Not that we forget him, because
never.
he's
never.
not going to be. There's too many things that you remember of him or that people hold dear to them. But you start to get back to your life.
And you mentioned it earlier. There were some quite humorous moments.
Yes, there was.
In this. One from a former teammate and one from someone who Kobe idolized.
Yeah.
And we'll start with Shaq, who told a very, very funny story about the two of them together.
The day Kobe gained my respect was the guys were complaining. Said, Shaq, Kobe's not passing the ball. I said, I'll talk to him. I said, Kobe, there's no I in team. And Kobe said, I know, but there's an in me in that. So I went back and told Rick and Big Shot Bob, I said, just get the rebound. He's not passing.
I mean, that was phenomenal.
It was great.
Great. And I do think people did enjoy, again, while they were crying, some of that humor and the laughter.
You have
to be able to laugh
at
with
some
that.
point. You have to. You need it. It's a release.
And not stunning that Shaq could provide that for you.
No.
I mean, listen, there were heartfelt words he said as well, but I mean, that was such a great story. I just love the ending. I went back to the fellow and said, just grab the rebounds. He ain't passing it.
Exactly. And then Michael Jordan was there, whom Kobe idolized obviously so much and wanted to be like him and do the things that Michael had done. You know, and Michael was very poignant at times.
Yes, he was.
When he said, a part of me died when Kobe died, and there were some true, genuine moments, so many genuine moments that he could not control himself, and he broke down. And lo and behold, Michael Jordan found a way to publicly be open and honest about that as well.
We talked about everything. And he was just trying to be a better person. Now he's got me. I'll have to look at another crime meme for the next. I told my wife I wasn't going to do this because I didn't want to see that for the next 3 or 4 years. That is what Kobe Bryant does to me.
It's just tremendous.
The Jordan, and
Jordan
again, if
crying
anybody
Jordan
didn't
meme.
know what he means, the Jordan crying meme that's out there. Now another one. That was, again, I love how they filled it with, again, as you said, really poignant words, but then also were able to throw a little bit of humor in there as well.
Yeah. So now we're in the process of trying to navigate our way forward, right?
Right, yeah.
Not only for the city of Los Angeles, and look, I have no idea how the Bryant family is going to do this, and I wish them all the best.
Or again,
anybody that
and
would
this
perish in
happens
that.
to be in our world of sports, but any
Correct.
family that goes through the tragic, shocking loss of something like this, of there's no playbook for it, you know.
And I think tonight, right, the Lakers play the Pelicans.
Play the Pelicans, yeah.
Right? It's the first meeting between Zion and LeBron. And Dave McMenamin was on, I think it was Stan Verrett last night on SportsCenter, and had some very interesting words about how the Lakers as a team, and specifically LeBron as a player, take that next step forward that we're alluding to after it's been over a month. We had the first home game at the Staples Center since Kobe and all those died in the helicopter crash. We had the memorial yesterday, and now begins the process of trying to continue putting one foot in front of the other.
The first road game the Lakers played in Sacramento after they got back to playing after the tragedy, I got a chance to kind of just catch up with LeBron and just touch base and see how he was doing. And he told me in that moment that it was the toughest week of his life. And so me knowing that, it wouldn't surprise me if he made a decision similar to yours to say, you know what, of course, I'm devastated. Of course, I respect Kobe Bryant. I respect his family. I respect the Lakers. For me to be the best I can be for everybody else, maybe not be involved with that today.
And if that's the way he felt, that's fine. You know.
Listen, as I said, there's no playbook. There's no rule book to this on how you're supposed to deal with it. You deal with it how individually you want to deal with it. I mean, we've talked about this in a lot of different situations where there is no really right or wrong answer. It's how you choose to grieve or deal with it or start to move on and heal.
Right. And LeBron sort of alluded to this after the game Sunday where they beat the Celtics and he had the bucket to put them up for good, 114 to 112. People were talking about it, and LeBron alluded to sort of where he was mentally and the things he needs to do to get himself going forward to be what he can be.
I've talked about it, man. It's been a celebration.
Okay.
ever since we got the horrific news about his life and what he means to the game, but I don't want to keep going back on it. I think it's unfair and it's unjust to his family as they trying to move on. We're all trying to move on, but also know that, he's with us. His jersey's sitting in my locker right now, but it just puts me in a difficult mind state when I continue to harp on it.
And I think that's where he's trying to get going because he, they have a game tonight.
Yeah.
And the best way to honor Kobe, if you're a basketball player, especially if you're a basketball player wearing a Lakers uniform,
sure,
is go out there and make sure you give your damnedest every night.
To win the championship.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where that's what every player is going to deal with now, or every person that kind of was touched by Kobe is, and a lot of this is said a lot with not just Kobe's, but others that have died, and then you hear friends or family say, well, this is what he or she would have wanted. This is what he or she would have wanted us to do. And if that's what motivates you, then so be it. I mean, that's, what do you think's going on at the Mamba Academy?
Right.
Where all those, young men and women are playing ball. It's they're going to try and live and play the way Kobe had taught a lot of them. That's what's going to continue as lives move on, and they inevitably will. That's what happens. We know that over time for everybody differently. It all moves on, and it's what you personally feel you need to hold from that person who passed away.
So, again, we'll see how the Lakers and LeBron as a team take that next step forward tonight as they host the Pelicans and Zion Williamson, the first of what should be many contests between those two giants of human beings with incredible athletic ability. That comes your way tonight, 10 o'clock Eastern. We'll see the first of those matchups. Meanwhile, let's get you on what's trending elsewhere in the world of sports. The NFL Combine is getting underway this week. And I'm not surprised by this decision, Mike. Chase Young says he won't work out at the Scouting Combine. He'll be there for interviews and medical testing, a source tells ESPN's Adam Schefter. He is widely considered to be the best player in the draft and projected to be selected by Washington with the number 2 pick, both by Mel Kiper Jr. and Todd McShay. And from my perspective, Mike, Chase has nothing to gain and everything to lose.
Zero issue with this.
Yeah.
And there'll be those, especially in the football world, that complain, we're all getting together there. He should work out for them. No, he shouldn't.
No.
Chase Young needs to do what's right for Chase Young. And that's if he's going to show out one time. He said he'll run the drills at his pro day.
Yep.
And that's enough. You know what? If all the teams are in there and they say you should run it while we're there, you know where his pro day is. You want to go see him do all that? Go to his pro day. This is about now these individuals. They're not associated with teams anymore. They're individuals that need to do what's best for them.
Absolutely. And people need to understand what the draft process is and what it isn't. The draft process is about each potential draftee doing whatever they can do to increase their draft value. That's the only thing, and it's different for everybody. Guys like Joe Burrow and Chase Young and a lot of other people in college, there it is. Take a look at it. There are a lot of other people that need to do things and need to show things at the Combine. DK Metcalf, the wide receiver, made himself a ton of money with the way he ran at the Combine last year. It all depends on what your status is and what your perception is by the NFL talent evaluators going into the Combine. That's the only thing this process is about.
Yep.
And it's conflicting ideologies because for the draftees, it's about increasing your value as much, and for the teams, it's about getting the most value out of that pick. And sometimes those things aren't the same thing, and that's okay because one side needs to take care of theirs, and the other side needs to take care of theirs. Meanwhile, as we continue in what's trending, Jose Altuve booed and unintentionally hit by a pitch as the Astros are appearing in his first spring training game.
Yeah, booing. They had their starting infield out there, and they all got booed when they came to the plate.
Correct.
And it did seem unintentional. I don't know many people that throw it a foot.
Nobody throws it a foot.
Very difficult to try and hit a foot.
Why would, if you're trying to plunk him, why would you pick the hardest part of his body to hit that might be moving?
Yeah. But I don't think many people were too sad he got hit.
No, not at all. And, but the other thing, which we didn't get into yesterday, is when the Astros went up to a game over the weekend, people had signs.
Yeah.
One said the Houston Asterisks.
Yeah.
And they confiscated the sign.
They stole the sign.
They were stealing signs.
They
were stealing signs over the weekend.
Cliff? Anything?
Hey, all right.
Sure
I appreciate that,
My,
Cliff. Thanks very much.
Inch joke gets nothing.
So, moving on. I mean, listen, this is going to be a thing, man. It's going to be a thing for them, and they're going to have to figure out how we wind our way through this. Then there's the other thing, Mike. Former heavyweight world titleist Deontay Wilder told ESPN on Monday that he will be definitely exercising his right to an immediate and third fight with Tyson Fury. Under the terms of the deal for the rematch, both sides, Fury and Wilder, had the right to invoke an immediate third fight regardless of the result. Now, because Fury won that fight, whatever the gate is going to be, it's a 60-40 split
right.
for Fury. And then there was this other little caveat that Deontay dropped in.
Yeah, we're going to get to that. Golic and Wingo presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Insurance, drivers who switch and save pay an average of $796 less per year. Call or click today and find out if we could save you hundreds on your car insurance. Not really saying it's an excuse. Maybe he's saying it's one of the reasons he makes sure to always give Tyson Fury his due, that he was the better fighter that night. But Deontay Wilder has said that he didn't have legs for the fight. And the reason he didn't have legs for the fight is anybody who saw at least clips of it, you saw them coming into the ring. The ring entrance is always a big thing.
Right.
You saw Tyson Fury getting carried sitting on a throne. He sat down.
Yeah.
Deontay Wilder did not. Not only did he walk in, which most people do.
Sure.
He walked in with a costume on that lit up. Deontay Wilder said between the mask, the costume, and the batteries, it all weighed 40 to 45 pounds. And he said by the time he got in the ring and took it off, he felt like his legs were gone.
Okay, see, I have two things there.
Okay.
Number one, I don't discount that might have been a problem for him, because he did walk a long way and he had an extra 40, 45 pounds. I understand that. That being said, he lost the fight because his eardrum got ruptured and he had no balance.
I think what his point is going to be, maybe that happened because I had no legs for the fight. I don't know. This was his quote. I paid a severe price because my legs were how they were because of my uniform. My uniform was way too heavy. It weighed 40-plus pounds. We had it on 10 or 15 minutes before we even walked out and then put the helmet on. That was extra weight. Then the ring walk. Then going up the stairs. It was like a real workout for my legs. When I took it off, I knew immediately the game had changed.
Okay, so my question then would be, you have really smart boxing people in your corner. We talked about that. Mark Breland, an Olympic medalist, and went on to have a very stellar pro career as well. Why doesn't someone say to him beforehand, dude, you're putting on an extra 45 pounds, and unlike Tyson Fury, you are choosing to walk. Maybe this isn't the best idea. So is it a possibility that affected him? Absolutely. But then someone should have thought of that, right?
Oh, I would agree with that, yes. And if his legs felt the least bit off, you know, then mentally where you go, you're like, oh my God, I'm not at 100%. And then does it start to get into your head? So that was we're going to have the rematch. This is something else I wanted to quickly read. We can get into at some point as well. He's still upset with Mark Breland, who threw the towel in.
He should not
is
be.
Deontay Wilder. He said, quote from Wilder, for Mark to do it, I was very heartbroken. If I say statements like I want to kill a man in the ring, then I have to abide by those same principles in the ring of him doing that same thing to me. I'd rather die than go out with someone throwing the towel in. And as I said, Deontay, that's fine for your mentality.
Correct.
But the job of those guys outside the ring is to protect you at times from yourself, which is exactly what Mark Breland did.
Yeah. Listen, it's fun to say that on some level. I want to. No, you don't. You want to keep living. Because you know what? You get another chance at another payday, and maybe don't wear an extra 45 pounds. So, I mean,
that we don't see that uniform anymore.
I bet he comes in a Speedo next time. We'll see what happens there. Coming up, without Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid said, bleep it.
Okay.
We'll get to that next. Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio, ESPN2.